Beginning, the human groom. When the starship Aurora's promise cut through the pink-gold atmosphere of Virellia, I still didn't quite believe what I had agreed to. Me, Captain Elias Rehn, a human envoy from the United Earth Coalition, was to marry an alien princess. It wasn't love at first sight. It was politics. The Virellians were a powerful, matriarchal species, tall, luminous beings with translucent skin that shimmered like liquid glass. Their voices carried harmonics that could hypnotize lesser species. Humanity had fought them once, decades ago. Now, we were trying to avoid another war. The Virellian queen had offered peace in the form of marriage, her middle daughter, Princess Kaelara, to be wed to a human ambassador. And for reasons still unclear to me, that human had been chosen to be me. The landing bay opened in a radiant cascade of light. I stepped forward, the air thick with sweet metallic fragrance like ozone and roses. The court of the Virellian Empire was waiting, hundreds of alien dignitaries, each one tall, ethereal, and slightly terrifying. And at the center of them, Kaelara. She was unlike anything I had ever seen or perhaps felt. Virellians didn't just exist in sight, they pulsed in emotion. She radiated calm strength, sadness, and curiosity all at once. Her eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the starlight of her world. "You are smaller than I expected," she said with an amused smile. "And you're far more radiant than I was warned," I replied. That made her laugh, a crystalline sound that echoed through the hall like wind chimes. The queen watched silently from her throne, eyes glinting like shards of the sun. When I knelt before her daughter, the queen spoke. "Let this union bind not just our kind, but our futures. May the blood of the stars flow between our species, as it once did before war divided us." The wedding was held that same night, beneath the twin moons of Virellia. Their light cast silver veins across Kaelara's skin as she stood beside me. The ceremony was strange, ceremonial, a blending of energies through touch, not rings. Our hands met, and for a brief, terrifying moment, I felt her emotions flood into me. Centuries of duty, isolation, and the weight of expectation. When the ritual ended, I was hers legally, politically, and something deeper I couldn't define. But as I looked up from the shimmering pool that marked our vow, I caught sight of three figures watching from the shadows, her sisters. The eldest, Soreth, tall and austere. The youngest, Lyra, curious and sharp-eyed. And the middle one, Arian, whose gaze held no warmth. When our eyes met, she smiled faintly, not with joy, but with promise. Middle, the sisters of the Star Court. My new life as the human prince consort was a delicate prison wrapped in luxury. I lived in Kaelara's palace, a living structure grown from bioluminescent coral and mirrored stone. Servants bowed wherever I went, though their eyes followed me with suspicion. To most Virellians, I was an oddity, perhaps even a pet. Kaelara was kind but distant. Her life was bound by duty, morning audiences, council meetings, ceremonies. We spoke often, but rarely about ourselves. And yet, each night, she'd come to me, silent, graceful, resting her head against my chest, as if the rhythm of a human heart was something sacred. But her sisters were never far. Soreth, the eldest, came to me first. She visited my quarters under the guise of diplomacy. "You've adapted well," she said, circling me like a scientist studying a specimen. "Humans are fragile creatures, yet you stand tall among us. Perhaps you were born for this." I laughed awkwardly. Or perhaps I'm just stubborn. Her eyes glimmered. "Stubbornness can change empires, Elias Rehn. Be careful, it can also end them." Then she leaned close enough that I could see the faint pulse of light beneath her skin. "Tell me, does my sister make you happy?" The question was simple, but the tone behind it was sharp, almost predatory. "She tries," I said. "I'm learning her world." "Good," Soreth murmured. Because if she fails, there are others willing to take her place. She left before I could reply. The next sister, Arian, found me days later during a solar festival. Firelight danced across her face as she approached. "So this is the human who captured the Queen's attention," she said, sipping a glass of liquid starlight. "Do you even know what kind of web you've walked into?" "I know I married for peace," I replied. "Peace?" She laughed bitterly. "There is no peace in power, human. You married into the oldest rivalry in our history. One fought not with armies, but with bloodlines." When I didn't answer, she stepped closer, close enough that her scent, like rain and iron, filled the air. If Kaelara cannot produce a successor, the union falls apart. And the throne remains open to those with ambition. Her hand brushed my face lightly, tracing the edge of my jaw. "You may find yourself in another's bed before long, by choice or by command." I froze. "You're threatening me?" "No," she said with a smirk. "I'm inviting you to survive." Then she vanished into the crowd. The youngest, Lyra, was different. She was curious, almost childlike. She'd sneak into the garden where I often sat, fascinated by earth flowers grown in alien soil. "Is it true humans fall in love?" she asked one evening. I smiled. "Of course. How do you know when it happens?" I hesitated, looking at the horizon. "When you stop thinking about what you might lose, and only about what you've found." Lyra nodded slowly, her silver eyes wide. "Then maybe my sister loves you. She doesn't think about losing anymore." Her words lingered with me for days. Middle, Part 2: The Web of Power. Months passed. Kaelara and I grew closer, genuinely. I began to see her not as a symbol, but as a person. We shared stories of our worlds, our fears, even laughter. She showed me the echo fields, where the memories of her ancestors were stored in living crystals. One night, as we stood among them, she whispered, "I know you think you were chosen for diplomacy. But the truth is, I chose you." That stunned me. "You did?" She nodded. "I saw the way you spoke during the first negotiations. You didn't speak like a soldier, or a politician. You spoke like someone who wanted to understand." Then she took my hand. "That's rare, Elias. Even among my people." I kissed her for the first time that night, beneath the memory lights of her ancestors. For once, I felt peace. But peace never lasts long in palaces. A week later, during a ceremony honoring the Queen, a shocking announcement was made. The Queen declared her intention to step down and name her successor. Gasps filled the hall. The Queen's gaze fell upon Kaelara. But before the moment could settle, Soreth rose. "With respect, Mother," she said, "a princess bound to an outsider cannot lead our kind. The blood of Virellia would be diluted by human frailty." Kaelara's composure barely cracked, but her hand tightened around mine. Arian stood too. "If succession must come, let it be by the right of the stars. Let the fates and the people decide." The Queen considered her daughters with weary eyes. "So be it. The right will be held beneath the twin moons. Let the stars judge who is worthy." And just like that, my wife was thrown into a political war not just for power, but for legitimacy.